Hi, this is a brief video, pardon my voice. This is going to be a bit of a tutorial or a reminder about how to draw town maps. I've started a new one here called Two Springs, involving a tourist area along a lovely river. So when we're talking about how to draw your map, which we've already discussed, let me show you some non-examples. Okay, here they did color it, but there are not enough buildings, not enough detail. If you have huge stretches of areas where there's nothing, and that's not realistic in a town because buildings are generally packed pretty tightly in together. They did draw their roads the right width, but the buildings are lying on the street. Buildings don't lie right up against a street. There's at least a sidewalk or something else in the way. So once again, this building is lying right on the street. When I show you my map, see how the medical center is not right up against the street? It's got a bit of a boulevard on the top and on the side, so it's not right on the street. My house is cool, but the street goes right into the building, and that's not realistic because what needs to be here is some form of a driveway. Not a street, which would be much narrower than the street. Once again, you have streets going straight into buildings as though they're crashing into them, which is not realistic. This one has a side street going straight into it, which is, I don't understand. Okay, so once again, this one, you can see that it has too much empty space and the buildings are not realistically depicted. This one, while colorful, is nice to look at. But once again, we have a lot of empty spaces, which it's not fair to other people who are filling the spaces with much detail. They've named the streets, that's good, they've labeled them, and they drew in a bunch of houses, but at the expense of only a few places of fun shopping, and there are no parking lots or anything. I mean, it's like you have stores in the middle of a field. With streets, but then again, where are the people going to park to go into the stores? So when I show you over here how I've done mine, if you want to go into the church, you have to park in the parking lot, and then you go into the building, so it's not in the middle of an empty field somewhere. Okay, and you can have parks in your town, but they have to have detail, so there should be more details in this park here. Okay, next. While this is visually interesting looking at it, there are a couple of things. First of all, they have some very strangely shaped buildings that are not realistic. And you know, if you think about it, if you have offices this size in a McDonald's that huge, or these tiny little offices, so it's not really to scale. And once again, we just have squares for buildings with no parking lots, no way for them to get to the buildings, and we have a building that's like right up against two streets. And it says that it's a parking lot, but we don't know it's a parking lot. We don't see that it's a parking lot with the lines. Because over here, at my Publix, you can see the spaces where they can park their cars, pardon me. So, yeah, they had a really good start, but they don't have enough logical layout of the buildings. Next. They filled up a lot of space with ocean, and that cannot possibly count because it's not fair. There need to be buildings here. You can have a sliver of ocean at the edge of the paper, but having the whole thing be ocean is kind of unfair to other people who are actually filling up their maps with detail. Same thing with the forest. They're not going to have a forest in the middle of a town. Forests will be on the outside of town, so it doesn't quite fly. In this one, while they have parking lots, they have buildings going right up against streets and looking like they're sitting on them. Buildings don't do that. They don't sit on streets. They're set back from the streets, at least a sidewalk's distance, maybe a strip of grass. So please don't draw your buildings that are lying on the streets like this. It's not realistic. Okay, next. This one is very colorful. I enjoy that. However, it's not fully colored. It's here in the center. And then you have squares that instead of showing buildings, they're looking like plot plots of land. They don't actually show the buildings. They're just saying that that's what goes there. Like farm station, where's a train station? Where's the station? Where are the tracks? And how can we have a street going from one building into another? That's not logical. That's not realistic. And they don't have any buildings depicted on this map. Next, once again, this one does have color, but it has the same problem. It has a plot of land for a school, but doesn't actually show the school. So let me show you from my school. It's not an empty square. I show the complex of buildings, I show the bus drive, I show some oak grove trees, I show some portables, and I show the parking lot. So there's a very big difference between putting buildings on your lot and simply having an empty lot, and that's not enough. Next, while I do like the bold, dark roads, the buildings are kind of a jumble. They're not connected to the streets. There's no parking lots. It's as though they're all jumbled in the middle of a field somewhere, and everybody sort of walks to them. In which case, why would we have roads for cars? Because the roads are taking us past all these buildings. This road kind of ends there, but what are people going to do?